Kelli's Acoustic Crossroads is brought to you by the Team One Automotive Group, Riverview Regional Medical Center, and Family Savings Credit Union. Now, here's Kelli Johnson.
Well, folks, it's not hard to figure out I'm not Kelli Johnson. That would be easy to do today, but what we want to do is welcome you to Kelli's show. Kelli's out of town, and she has given me the honor of being your host this week. I'm pretty excited about that. You may know us a little bit from the Foggy Hollow Band and some of the things we've done in the past, and I love good bluegrass and country and acoustic music, so Kelli was kind enough to let me stand in today, and we want to welcome you in from wherever you are and what you're doing, and welcome you to the show this week. We're going to have an awesome time, some more good music, tell you about a little bit of events and things that will be coming up, so we want you to kind of stick around with us now. I'm really honored today. You know, normally Kelli will do an opening number, but I figured today that I might take the opportunity to introduce you to a couple of folks that's very close to me. A couple of years ago, you might have seen them on the show here doing a song called The $20 Bill. Well, they're a couple of years older now, ladies and gentlemen, but please make welcome my twin granddaughters. This is Abby and Anna Gilbert, and we're going to do a little bit of Traveling Soldier for you now.
Past 18, he was waiting for the bus in his army green, sat down in a booth at a cafe there, gave his order to a girl with a bow in her hair. He's a little shy, so she gave him a smile, and he said, would you mind sitting down for a while and talking to me? I'm feeling a little low. She said, I'm off in an hour and I know where we can go. So they went down and they sat on the pier. He said, I bet you got a boyfriend, but I don't care. I've got no one to send a letter to. Would you mind if I send one back here to you? I cry, never gonna hold the hand of another guy too young for him. They told her, waiting for the love of a traveling soldier. Our love will never end, waiting for the soldier to come back again. Never more to be alone when the letter said, soldiers coming home. So the letters came from an army camp in California, then Vietnam, and he told her of his heart might be loving all the things he was so scared of. Said, when it's getting kind of rough over here, think of that day sitting down at the pier, and I close my eyes, see your pretty smile. Don't worry, but I won't be able to write for a while. I cry, never gonna hold the hand of another guy too young for him. They told her, waiting for the love of a traveling soldier. Our love will never end, waiting for the soldier to come back again. Never more to be alone when the letter said, soldiers coming home. One Friday night at a football game, Lord's Prayer said and the anthem sang. A man said, folks, won't you bow your head for the list of local Vietnam dead. Crying alone under the stands was a piccolo player in the marching band, and one name read, nobody really cared, but a pretty little girl with a bow in her hair. I cry, never gonna hold the hand of another guy too young for him. They told her, waiting for the love of a traveling soldier. Our love will never end, waiting for the soldier to come back again. Never more to be alone when the letter said, soldiers coming
Well, folks, welcome back to Kelli's Acoustic Crossroads. Today's going to be a great day of music for you. Glad to have you here with us. Very special guest with us today, Stephen Hartsfield, a local fella from around Wellington, Alabama. Singer, songwriter, conservationist, very talented young man. A lot of travels. We're going to start off with some music today with an original tune that he wrote called Make Me Blue.
I was 10 miles out of Birmingham before you crossed my mind. You know I haven't thought of you in days. I've been drowning in the liquor and it's a wonder I ain't blind. Sometimes I still see you through the haze. In that cold rain that you're feeling, it must be just what you need as you make your way beneath the market lights. And the colors there that gather in the puddles at your feet won't never have no arms to hold you tight. And all this rambling might be killing me, but it's the only thing I know. You know my mama prayed I'd settle down. That's a damn hard road to hoe. You ain't the first one that I've left behind. Lord, I guess I'm good at what I do. But just in case you need some peace of mind, you're the first to make me blue. 10 miles out of Birmingham when I thought I heard your voice coming through my busted radio. So I reached and rolled the window down to listen to the noise of the engine and the wheels upon the road. And that red dress that you're wearing, girl, it makes you look so fine as you make your way beneath the market lights. And the colors there that gather in the puddles at your feet won't never have the fire to burn that bright. And all this rambling might be killing me, but I've been at it for so long. You know my daddy prayed I'd take a wife, Lord, and never do her wrong. But you ain't the first one that I've left behind. It might be sad, but it's true. So just in case you need some peace of mind, you're the first to make me blue. You're the first to make me blue.
Folks, it's great to have you with us. That's some dynamite music. I've got our guest here with us today, Stephen Hartsfield, and our bass player, Corey Martin, accompanying him. Stephen is a local fellow from down around Wellington, Alabama. He is a singer, songwriter, and hangs around. Best part about it is he's a graduate of Auburn University.
That's right.
And I see here that you got a degree in wildlife science. My dad said something about me majoring in wildlife one year when I was in college.
Yeah, well, it's a different kind of wildlife, I would suspect.
Okay. So it says after college here that you've traveled a lot. Tell me a little bit about that, Stephen.
Well, initially when I first came out, you know, the nature of the conservation field is there are a lot of seasonal positions. And coming out without a master's degree, I decided not to continue my education in academia and just get real world experience. So I traveled around to Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, Long Island, New York, Grand Junction, Tennessee, South Mississippi, Colorado Plains, just wherever I found a job that seemed interesting and that they were accepting of my qualifications and could put me to work.
Well, that's great. Speaking of Colorado, I know that you've got a dynamite connection out there. Tell us just a little bit about that connection.
Yes, sir. Well, there's several of my buddies, David Jeffrey, Jim Marsh, John Braw, Shannon
You
Carr.
call Jim Marsh your buddy?
Well, it's better than some things he's been called, I'm sure. But yeah, those guys are out there and have made quite a name for themselves along the Front Range of Colorado in that western bluegrass market. And,
Very busy.
They've always been receptive to me coming and staying for as long as I want, as long as I write songs while I'm there.
But they've recorded several of them, I think.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that right?
Yeah, yes, sir. They sure have. They've recorded Nadine, Drinking in the Daylight, and also Alabama Tory, which is a history-based song, but that was the title cut of their last studio album.
Well, that's great. Now, tell us a little bit about how you met Corey here.
Craigslist. Honest to goodness. I was seriously considering about moving back out to Colorado. I was kind of at a dead end here. I didn't feel like I was moving forward, and I was considering just making a change for a few months, just to get a breath of fresh air, so to speak.
It's a great place to go to make a
Yes,
change.
absolutely.
But now, Corey, how did you end up in this part of the world?
Well, I come from Slapout, Alabama, South Alabama, and I needed a change of scenery as well, so I came up to JSU and liked it up here so much I've never left.
Yeah, that's a wonderful place, and it's just kind of funny you guys could meet up like that. Y'all did a great job on the song. Now, it says here you've been to Alaska and Israel, or your songs have been played there?
Yes. Now, I've been to Alaska. I haven't been to Israel, but the title cut that I was speaking of, Alabama Tory, did receive play on it was an Israeli folk music station out there.
Yeah.
And it was played there. But yes, I did travel to Alaska. I have a friend that runs a banging pizza restaurant there in Cordova, Alaska called Harborside Pizza. And
They have halibut pizza.
oh, they have pretty much anything that you want. They do make salmon pizza.
Do they?
Yes, they do.
My son was there for quite a while, and I had the opportunity to visit him more
Nice.
than once. And the menu's a little different up there.
Oh, sure.
But it's very, very
Yeah.
good. So how long have you been writing?
Pretty much since I've been able to pick up a pen and knew how to put it down to a piece of paper. Started off mainly with, essays and short stories and such as that. And then when I was about 16 or 17 years old, I started getting interested in learning how to play an instrument. And I'm very fortunate that I come from a musical family, so I spent time with my uncles, kind of learning how to make a little bit of music. And so the desire that I had to write in a creative way just kind of naturally transferred into writing songs and music.
Well, and I see, too, that you don't only write music. You do write articles and things. It says here you've been published in the Auburn Circle and the Kudzu Review. I'm familiar with both of those, and that's great. I kind of enjoy writing myself. Most of my stuff is very short. Try to keep it just, the reason is people don't have a long attention span. People are lazy in this day and age, and they want it to happen real quickly. So that's why our songs are 3 minutes long.
That's right. Yeah.
But you guys have done a great job, and I know, are you still traveling in the conservation business?
Well, right now I'm doing some contract work with a nice organization up out of Piedmont, Alabama. It's the Alabama and Georgia Land Trusts, and I'm one of their field guys. I go out and take care of their field work for them, and it's a nice opportunity to have. It's in the local area, so I'm not having to travel for conservation work as much anymore.
Oh, yeah, you get to sleep in your own bed.
That's right.
Well, folks, we're going to be right back. Don't you run away. We're going to take a short break right here and hear from some of the folks that make this show possible. Well, welcome back, folks, to Kelli's Acoustic Crossroads. We're having a good day today. Got some good music, got some great guests. I want to thank Kelli for allowing me to come in this week and be your guest host. We've been friends a long time and really do appreciate that while she's out traveling around playing some music. Stephen, just kind of thinking back on the way your music goes, is I hear a really strong Americana flavor to it,
Sure.
and that's a really hot music right now. Tell us a little bit about how you feel about it.
Well, for me, I think there's, within, certain musical communities, a little bit of a schism, a separation from the popular kind of country to the more rootsy kind of country, with your alternate kind of instrumentation and not your so much pop songwriting kind of standard song kind of thing going on, So I started listening to individuals who were playing that kind of music probably back, I'd say early 2000s, and it just kind of naturally, kind of ingrained itself into the way that I write today.
Kind of fit that. Corey, how did you get started on the bass?
Well, I've always wanted to be a musician when I was a young kid. Bass was just the one I gravitated to. It seemed like the easiest to play, and as years progressed, I just discovered how important it was as an instrument in a band, and I focused more on it. I came to JSU to study bass, as a matter of fact. I learned how to play classical bass in the orchestra out there. And it was doing folk music, country music was something I never imagined myself doing until I met Stephen, and he opened my ears up to it.
That's great. Well, you do a great job on it. And a lot of people don't realize, there's, like me, now I can play a bass. I can play all 3 notes at a time, C, F, and G. But it just amazes me, and I love to hear a good bass player that puts the walk in and they put the runs in and can do the things. The things that amaze me mostly are the jazz musicians that run up and down that neck and just play about 9 million notes at a time. But now a lot of your songs, Stephen, are story songs.
Yes.
And there's always a history to a story song.
Sure. Well, for me, a lot of times if I have, what most people would consider writer's block, sometimes what I'll do is I'll just, find, something that happened, whether it be through, research on the internet or just hearing a news story.
Yeah.
And, kind of try to put myself as a character involved in those situations and then tell the story from the perspective of the individual who is involved in that. Songs like Drinking in the Daylight, Sunset Limited, those in Alabama Tory. I mean, it's a complete historical song. I mean, it's telling the history through the perspective of an individual who is involved in that particular situation.
One of my favorite all-time musicians was Harry Chapman. I mean, and of course, some of his songs were 6 and 7 minutes long, but my gosh, what a story writer. I had the opportunity to see him several times, and I really and truly believe that story songs hold people's attention.
Sure.
I think that, when you first begin to hear those kind of songs, you pay attention, you start listening, and you listen more and more and more. We're really excited about having you with us today. Are you originally from the Wellington area?
Yes, sir. Yes, I'm born and raised, Duke, Alabama.
You were talking about when you were growing up playing the older country music. It's kind of funny on my behalf. The Foggy Hollow Band's always been really pretty much bluegrass, even though some of it's progressive. We've shifted gears a little bit to the Foggy Hollow Review, and we're throwing in a lot more old George Jones, Hank Williams, and Merle Haggard, and Patsy Cline, and the audience is loving it because they can sing along with it. So, songs that people know.
Yeah.
Do you do that in your show sometimes?
Yes, we do. We do have a stable of covers that we do. We try to do cover songs that aren't just your typical over the radio songs. We'll take artists Pink Floyd and do obscure Pink Floyd. Take the Rolling Stones and do songs that you don't hear if you go to hear most cover bands, if that makes sense. So that you still get to hear songs from artists that but it's done in a little bit of a different way and not just straightforward, like it came off of an album.
It's always great to hear an arrangement with songs that you recognize.
Right.
Folks, it's been a great show. We got a little bit more music coming up for you. We don't want you to cut out on us right now, but we're going to get the guys back on the stage, let them do another original song for you. I believe this one's called Long Way Home. It's great to have you with us today.
What you waiting for? Why did you leave behind what lies ahead? Hey, don't ever stay too long. Don't get me wrong, it's a lovely place. These days, they make me ache my bones. Can't hardly move my feet. Don't wanna sing a song. This winding road is long, and I'm asleep behind the wheel. Get back, you'll be gone, like the cotton in the fields. Hey, what do you dream about when you close your eyes? What do you see? dogwoods bloom. Pick one for me, put it in your hair. In these days, they turned into nights on these city streets so far away. This winding road's long, about half as lonesome as it seems. When I get back, you'll be gone, and I'll be somewhere in between. What you wishing for? What is it that you want? Tell me what you need.
Well, folks, we want to thank you all out there for joining us today. We've had some dynamite music, some good information. Hope you've enjoyed the show. I personally want to thank Kelli for allowing me to come in and stand in as your guest host this week. It's been a lot of fun. Love that girl. She's on the road today playing music. We're just looking for that first big hit. But, hey, the music's been awesome today. Stephen, Corey, we want to thank you guys for coming by and sharing with us today. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to get out of here with one more great song. This is written by Stephen. It's called Third Time Charm. Thanks. See you next week.
New York was my kind of town, but it picked me up and let me down again. And LA wasn't bad for me, but the freeway doesn't seem so free, my friend. Riverboat in New Orleans, I met a woman twice as mean as me. Well, she followed me to Abilene. Late one night she picked me clean, oh yeah. 'Cause I'm a two-time loser with a third-time charm. I got yesterday's news beneath my arm. I got a hole in my pocket and a hole in my shoes, but I'm much too young to sing the blues. Las Vegas way, they turned the nighttime into day out there. Thought that I was Reno bound, and felt like I was losing ground somewhere. A sleepy town in Tennessee, I lost a girl that was twice as lost as me. Well, I shook her off on the Kansas plains, and there her memory still remains so fresh. 'Cause I'm a two-time loser with a third-time charm. I got yesterday's news beneath my arm. I got a hole in my pocket and a hole in my shoes, but I'm much too young to sing the blues. In Denver, I was way too high between the mountains and the sky so fair. So I made a run